Thompson here, your lean coach, and we are on week 3, and we're talking about the 5S, right? 5S system, not 3S, not 6S, but 5S. There's 5, right? Sort, straighten, sweep, shine, standardize, and sustain. Now we're on sustain. We need you as a leader of lean to realize without 5S, I really don't have lean. I have not set up the foundation for continuous improvement. Anybody can clean up a mess. It takes a lean leader to build standards and then work to improve those standards, right? All right, so we're going to talk about sustain. What is sustain? Well, I've gone through the first 4 S's. I now have standards. I want to sustain it by spreading it. Number one, I have standards, so I want to get it throughout my organization because it works. And I want to implement training, right? I want to implement training on 5S. I want to implement how to take 5S into your area and make yourself more efficient and more equipped to what? Foundation of what? Continuous improvement, right? So I really want to create standards. And I really want to sustain those standards. How am I doing that through the 5S system? Well, hopefully when I asked that question, you went, oh yeah, well, sweep and shine, because I go through, I clean up, and I check to see that things are at the standard. I standardize because the system I put in place is stable. Seems to be working, until some bright employee comes up with some new continuous improvement that will make the current standard better version of itself. Yay. So I need to be what? Lean, listening to the people doing what? The work. So the 5S system is huge on a project site. Very difficult to do. Not many projects do it, but they're trying. All right. And oftentimes they dumb it down to the top 3 here. Let's make sure that we're keeping things categorized and remove what we don't need, keep things straightened up, that we're efficient. Sweep and shine daily, they do that usually pretty well, but standardizing things, depends. They haven't really made it so that if I work for one particular GC and I'm working on 5 jobs with them, maybe 1 job is doing this. The others aren't doing any of it. So that's not a standard, right? But they may have this down, right? In one particular area, one particular team or leader. Need to get it to the level of standard, and then I have to sustain it through training and leadership. I have that both down here, training and leadership. So the leadership of that company, we're responsible for lots of projects throughout the country. What's our standard? We have to go around, know what the standards are, and then we have to go and assess as leaders so they know we're coming, and then we have to help support what's going on and help if they're having trouble getting 5S going, right? And this really needs to be on a project. Start at the general contractor level, and all the trades have to have 5S built into their system as well. Holistically, as a project site, they have to agree on their 5S. Each trade partner has to have their 5S for their materials, tools, and information, right? So 5S, the last one, sustain, takes leadership and training so we can spread the knowledge. So 5S, no 5S, what? Yeah, no lean. Is it a system? Yes. Is it 3 S's or 6? No, it's 5 S's, and it's like a cycle, right? Sort, categorize. We may be doing some of that all the time. Sort, categorize, especially on a project. Sort, categorize, remove what I don't need. Straighten, make sure I'm labeled. It's visual. I can control it at a glance. It's efficient, right? Sweep and shine. I have a daily system of putting things back in order that I created in what? Sort and straighten. I want to get everything back to standard by the end of the day. I stabilized the standards that I've incorporated, and now I can spread that through sustaining of leadership and training throughout the organization or throughout the project site as I bring on new trades. 5S system, right? Foundation of what? Continuous improvement, right? Anybody can clean up a mess. Takes a lean leader to set up standards and work to improve those standards on a daily basis.
The 5 S's of lean. That's sort, straighten, sweep, standardize, and sustain. And sustain. This is training and auditing and making sure that everyone is following and continuing with what you set up originally.
Perry, what happened this week, the week of February 13th?
You didn't give me that. What is it? What are you supposed to say?
Yo-ee.
Yo-ee, how'd you make?
Hi.
I'm ready.
Okay.
For me, it's just been tremendous.
We said okay.
It's been fun having George here, of course. He's been a real inspiration, I would say.
Oh,
You guys agree?
absolutely. Yeah.
I think all the places that you've had us looking into and things that we didn't even know where you were going to take us, it's just been a joy of exploration. We've learned things together. I've watched Tim come out of his shell like I've never seen. He's up at the board, he's drawing visual maps, he's out there leading the team for how we're doing 5S. I mean, it's just been really fun. I've been I'm sitting back because I've been videoing everything, and it's just like, wow, where do we begin, Tim? You know, and it's just like, this is so much good stuff. Jeff's out there sweating like a dog, building units and challenging them. We're saying, Jeff, no, this is all your plan. What do you want to do? And then we kept changing them while he's doing it. He'd be looking at it. He just was a great sport through all of that. I watched them redesign an entire area, that something you guys thought you were doing pretty well in your war. And yet, what did we cut the time down to?
Oh, we cut it in half, just about.
Yeah.
Talking about our assembly?
Yeah.
Yeah, we cut it in half.
And shrunk the space, and
Yeah.
just through these guys thinking about it. I got some great footage of these guys, 4 of them standing around planning. No, we need to do this. No, we need to do that. No, let's tweak this. No, let's. And then they were talking.
not standing around.
Yeah, no, you guys were like arguing about we could save a second. We could save a second if we did that. I mean, that's unheard of, right? So that was a big learning. And then I think for me, if I had to sum it all up, there was a lot of good lean thinking and learning this week. And I think I've absorbed a lot of it. I think all the team members that have
absolutely.
participated have absorbed. But mostly these two. It's been impressive what you guys have done this
You know, I said earlier in the week, on Wednesday, I did some training for design, so I didn't get to spend as much time with George. But at the end of the day, I was disappointed because I didn't get to spend more time with George my Wednesday. Now, that was my fault, but, you know, it was upsetting to me because at the end of the day, I'm like, I didn't get to absorb anything from George today, you know? And because every day I absorb something. And maybe a couple of things every day that's going to make a huge change out in the shop. Yeah, that shop's going to totally look different, Joel, when we're done.
I liked it was almost touching. Was it last night when Gary, before he left? Gary was pretty frustrated. We were kind of hard on him yesterday, and he's proud of his area, and yet he was willing to go through the pains of, okay, think outside the box. Let's change it. How are we going to do it? Count steps, think about area. Stuff was going out, and it really hit him hard when we got to his favorite little stash away. He opened up, he went over, pulled the drawer open, and Gary was ready to run over, and I had the camera on him. He calls, "Well, yeah, get that camera over here." And I'm like, oh. So I come up, and it's just filled with stuff, right? And I just look at Gary's face. I can tell, I was like, man, this is my personal stuff now. But he pulled it out. All right, pull it out. But the part that got me was the end of the day. He sat right over there. George was sitting there. We were doing a download. And actually, it was past the download. We were done. We were getting ready. He's getting ready. He stayed later. Normally, he has to get out the door because he's a wrestling coach. And he just looked up at George and he said, "I got to thank you." He says, "This thing started. I didn't think I was going to be buying any of this." He goes, "I'm in a different place right now, thanks to you." That was a big moment. He said, "You just made my trip worthwhile."
Yeah, I actually did.
Right?
The first couple of days, because it's great to see a different way to do it, because I was very frustrated the first couple of days because it's not how I normally do things. We were just taught a whole different way to do it. And after I stopped arguing with him and just sat there and, okay, I'm just going to do what he tells me to do, it all sinks in. It's a way better system.
Yeah. What did I say resistance is?
Futile. So, I mean, it's more of a education thing for some of, and it happened with Chris to me yesterday. He had the same pushback that I had with George. And I just kept pecking at them, and then finally, aha moment. It was an aha.
Yeah, that's right.
So, and it's actually a lot better system. It's a lot easier. Once you figure out how it works, it's going to be a great thing. So,
I'll tell you what I learned. 1 hour here is how many hours do we save in the field?
2 hours.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
We should be doing hundreds of thousands of hours.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, is that the? We obviously did a lot of stuff this week.
We did.
So here in the prefab shop, we do a lot of variety of different things. And one of the things we do is we build seal-tight whips for a company called One Neck, and it's different colored seal-tight. So yesterday at about 3 o'clock, I got an order for 2 of these whips, and my lead that takes care of the shop is on vacation. And we really didn't have any work scheduled today, so I didn't have anybody in the shop. So I had to go and bring a service van driver in that has never built any of these before to build 2 of these for me. So when I went back through and looked at our standards, I have our standard of how we put them together, all the way down to how many minutes it should take you to build this assembly. So I pulled all the material, I got all the material. He built it. He started at 7 a.m. and he finished at 8:25 a.m. So what's really cool about this is that we know our standard. No matter who I bring in, we know it's going to take him 45 minutes to build one of these whips. And he built 2, and it took him an hour and a half, a little by about an hour and a half. So, it was just good to see this standard, and I had it. And it was awesome because I didn't have to explain anything to him. I just give him, and he just followed the instructions and followed what we had here, put it together, and it worked perfect. And they're already gone and out the way onto the job site.
The 5 S's of lean. That's sort, straighten, sweep, standardize, and sustain. Sort is going through an area and sorting out and separating what's needed for that space and what's not. A lot of times we use something called red tagging, where you're just tagging everything that doesn't belong and you're not necessarily moving it right then and there, but you've marked it as something that needs to get out of your space. Straighten is making sure that everything's clean and organized and everything has its own spot. Sweep is cleaning your area, inspecting your area, making sure that things stay organized. Standardize is making sure that the lean carts is, if you have them, and that everybody has them, and that you're all following the same sorted way of keeping things. And sustain. This is training and auditing and making sure that everyone is following and continuing with what you set up originally.